So, are you a Facebooker? If you are today, you might have seen all your hippy-dippy friends sharing the story about CNN having a revelation that one dose of LSD can relieve anxiety forever. Duh.
Our story begins in April 1963. A maverick lecturer and psychologist named Dr. Timothy Leary has just been fired by Harvard University. Leary's one of the pioneers in researching the effects of mind-altering drugs. But the notoriety he attracts embarrasses Harvard, and the man who wouldn't play by the rules gets dumped.
I believe very sincerely and deeply in LSD as a sacrament and the psychedelic way of life.
Talking about my generation.
Harvard may have dumped him, but for an emerging generation of baby boomers, it is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And Uncle Tim, as he's known to his followers, is the right man with the right message at the right time.
I urge all of you to drop out of American society.
It was so innocent in those days, wasn't it? Kids could hitchhike. Hiya, brother. Hi, sister. Remember, it seems like a dream that all that happened, but it did.
I'm just mad about saffron.
Leary moves to Milbrook, New York, where millionaire William Mellon Hitchcock donates a mansion to help him with his research. This idyllic spot becomes the unofficial center of the psychedelic movement.
And we had a research center there, and some of the great, Aldous Huxley came there, the Beatles came there, the Grateful Dead, of course, were hanging around our front door all the time.
Leary's work with mind-altering drugs not only attracts the rich and famous, it also attracts the attention of the law. In 1965, Uncle Tim is arrested for marijuana possession in Texas. And the following year, an ambitious assistant district attorney leads a drug raid on the New York mansion. He arrests Leary, but he finds no drugs, only some peat moss used for plants. The assistant DA's name is G. Gordon Liddy, who would later gain worldwide notoriety as one of the Watergate conspirators.
For a while, our little place upstate New York was the world center of the new thinking. But of course, it can never last. You know what happened? G. Gordon Liddy came knocking on our door at midnight, and he kept hanging around busting us. So finally, Liddy drove us out, and as a result of driving us out of the county, they promoted him to the Nixon White House, where he made other midnight raids on Watergate.
By 1967, flower power is in full bloom, and Leary is the movement's Pied Piper. He utters the slogan, turn on, tune in, drop out. And America's college kids follow in droves.
So we're turned on, and we're tuned in, and we're very dropped out.
Leary becomes a psychedelic celebrity, and in 1969, he joins other celebrities on the John Lennon-Yoko Ono recording of Give Peace a Chance.
In the 60s, psychedelic drugs, it was everywhere. The Beatles were singing about it, and Dylan was singing about it. I don't see how you could go through the 60s and not be curious if you're a philosopher.
That curiosity keeps Leary in trouble with the law. In 1970, he begins serving a 10-year prison sentence for marijuana smuggling. But he breaks out of jail disguised as a bald, middle-aged businessman and flees to Algeria. Disillusioned, Leary leaves Algeria and ends up back in jail. It's not until 1976 that he's paroled and can begin to rebuild his life.
Taking LSD in particular is Russian roulette. Don't forget it. It's Russian roulette. Of course, we're all gambling men.
He appears at colleges and in nightclubs as what he calls a stand-up philosopher, and then begins touring the country with a man who closed down his research institute in New York, Watergate conspirator G. Gordon Liddy. This strange team makes up a traveling debate show, which plays college campuses nationwide.
He busted me when I was in Milbrook, New York, back in 1964. The reason we got together was the basic American answer: we have the same agent.
Gordon thought the 60s was some sort of mass insanity.
Memories Then and Now caught the Tim and Liddy show at the University of California at Irvine, where an audience of students who were not even born when Leary dominated the headlines watched the drug guru square off with the Watergate criminal.
sense, you know.
The question is, in light of what we now know about drugs, does Leary offer any apologies for leading an entire generation into the drug culture of the 60s?
If you're going to play that game of credit and blame, of course, I had nothing to do with it. It was going to happen anyway. I'm just the cheerleader that saying it's okay. I'm the old Uncle Tim that says go for it. I'm trying to encourage you and empower you to do it. But everybody that involved in that great experiment did it themselves.
Oh, my God.
And does he harbor any personal regrets?
The only regrets I have, and there are many, are personal. That for many reasons, my life has been full of so much change and disorganization that my family suffered, and it's hard to be a father and be a philosopher on the run and in prison. I have many regrets personally and emotionally, but as far as my profession, I think I'm in the top 10. I'm an MVP, most valuable philosopher of the 20th century, or in the running at least.
Today, Dr. Leary feels computers, not drugs, will be the way to open new horizons to the future. Ironically, back in the 60s, computers were a hated symbol of the establishment that many people, like Leary, wanted to crush.
Thank you for watching Cleveland Live Music. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, or hit the next video button. Or if you really like what you see, you can do the American thing and send money. There's like information for that stuff in the video descriptions. Just keep watching the videos, that's all I care about. Taped all this junk for some reason. So, again, thank you for all the support making the channel grow. Ain't that America? Rah, rah, rah.